Hi, I'm Bran, and I love The Way Home.
I'm Ryan, and I really like The Way Home.
I'm Dan, and I despise The Way Home, and this is the
Deck the Hallmark podcast. Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Hello,
yeah.
everybody. Oh my gosh, we're back again.
Hi.
Hello, Ryan. Welcome back, buddy.
Thank you so much. I couldn't be more giddy to do this with you two today.
Couldn't be more giddy.
Giddy.
Wow.
Giddy. Man, people are quick. They're like, the set has changed for you guys.
That's
and now
right.
immediately, right out of the gate, they're asking,
Ryan's
Ryan's brick wall?
Yeah, Ryan heard we changed our set, and he was like, I can't be the same.
I said, enough with the brick. But no, we'll be back to the brick next week, hopefully. I think.
We are all going to change our set for every episode of The Way Home. That's our promise to you.
Much like the show itself, keeping you on your toes.
That's right. And
That's exactly right.
Ryan, the reviews are in one episode. Not only is The Way Home a hit for Hallmark,
Yes.
but Ryan Popola a hit for Deck the Hallmark.
Oh.
The people love you, sir.
That goes both ways. I'm genuinely having a giddy time, and that's very, very kind. I'm up for a decky. The whole thing's been a whirlwind.
I mean, he's up for a decade.
What is that like? What's that like when
Yeah.
when
we never won one?
No, we never won one. Obviously, we send out someone out to where you are
That's right.
to hand deliver the fact that you got a nom. So
That's right.
Take us through that day and what that was like for you when that guy showed up at your house. And who did we send to you? What was his name?
Well, no, it was actually Brian. I was at a local Costco.
It was Brian.
Yeah, I was at a Costco, and I was surprised because he resides in that Greenville now. But I was just picking up some frozen meats, and then suddenly everything had changed.
So,
Hey, Brian, are you
sure,
over there? Brian, are you here?
Are you
Come
sure,
here real quick.
Ryan? You didn't get subpoenaed? Are you sure? That's like, well, are you sure you got a Decky's nom?
At
Go
first,
to this one real quick. Brian, explain yourself.
Yep. So I just had to. I heard the Deckies noms came out. And I said, Trace, give me some of those. Give me a handful of those Deckies.
Yep.
I got nothing to do most of the week
Yeah.
because you guys have other guests. So grabbed a handful of Deckies, hopped on a plane.
But not the awards, just the nominees.
Yeah. The list of
This
nominees.
is a Woodlands
Well,
Camp
You didn't give out.
2016
Not yet.
award. It is not
Yeah.
a Decky.
This is just to get everybody pumped up
I
about
got
what's
you.
to
Yeah,
come.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this
We
is
don't want to
not-
show off.
We have the
We
awards.
do have the awards,
But we're not going to show them off just yet.
No. Now,
So-
how Brian knew I was at a local Costco,
It's a
we don't know.
different story. Different
Yeah.
story. He does. I don't know. Once you become a host here, you do give us a few rights. You'd probably just click through them all, though.
Sure.
I don't
You
want to.
did e-sign.
Yeah, as a
So-
DocuSign. If you go back and read, you'll know how he knows. But needless to say, you are a nominee. That's real.
and you
It's
still
real.
have that same phone, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, don't change that number,
Yeah.
please.
Don't change that
good.
number or
That's
turn off the location settings.
Okay.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Locked in. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks,
Thank
Brian.
you. Love you. Thank you.
But the Deckies, can you believe it? Are tomorrow.
Tomorrow, man.
I know what you're doing tomorrow night. Watching the Deckies on Pins and Needles.
That's
Find
right.
it if you want.
Live, of
I'm
course.
gonna be the ultimate irony of I'm up for intern of the year. I started at WWE as an intern. I have the inside track. I
Yeah,
have
you
the
do.
inside track. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you
how that
do.
works.
And that is true. You started as an intern and now you are full time with WWE. Who knows if you play your cards right?
Just saying.
Not that you would ever leave WWE.
Never.
I'm not trying to put
No,
that into the
no,
universe.
no.
Not trying to put that into the universe.
I mean,
Sure,
I'm
whatever.
sure we could pay you more.
I will say, for those of you that listened to Falling for Basketball last week, Ryan was on. We had a wonderful time, and I did a similar thing where I threw out a name.
You want to hold that
and-
water bottle right in front of the mic, Ryan? That would help if you could.
He's new to TV. He didn't know. He didn't know.
If you're watching on Philo.tv, you'll know what kind of water he drinks, which is great. That's the
It's
goal.
free publicity. But I threw
I
out.
thought I had it covered.
No, it was great.
you know, I'm just giving you all the time.
I threw out the Boogeyman and said, give me that theme song, which he did. But then to let me know that every Halloween on the bump, the Boogeyman comes on and he'll eat some worms and have a good time. The boogeyman's a wrestler, by the way.
I would assume it's not the real boogeyman.
The boogeyman's a wrestler.
Trying to book him is impossible.
We've tried. We've tried.
Do you think you could get the boogeyman on here to review an episode of The Way Home? It would be very random.
Man.
I could make a call. I'm
Only if he's in full wardrobe, the full get up.
I mean, it's cell service in the bottomless pit is tough, but we'll try.
Yeah. But I had a wonderful time watching the Halloween episode of The Bump. So.
Oh, you did? That was the thing you actually did?
Yes.
Oh, wow. What a guy.
He loves his wrestling.
I love my wrestling. I love my boogeyman. I love my Ryan. Those are all the things that I love.
You wrestle.
But none of those things I love more than Philo TV. I'll tell you that much. Philo.tv/DTH. You can watch this show. I think people are having a fun time watching it if you're watching it on Philo.
Yeah.
But you can also watch the show that we're talking about today, which is The Way Home, which, guys, I just found out they're doing the first 4 episodes, right?
They're not taking a break.
They're taking, as far as I know, just a 1-week break, but it's Super Bowl Sunday.
Okay.
So they didn't want to compete.
Okay.
They didn't want to compete with the Super Bowl. But what they're doing that day, and maybe this is something that you will want to do if you haven't been watching the show and you decided you want to listen to the Wednesday episode, like the Hallmark, and you're like, I don't know, talk me into it. On Super Bowl Sunday. So this is for the person that hasn't been watching The Way Home,
but has been listening.
been listening. And also has no desire to watch the Super Bowl. They are going to show all 4 episodes of The Way Home.
Jerry, you hear us out there, Jerry?
They're doing what? When? They're doing what? When?
It's a Way Home marathon.
Way Home marathon.
Yeah, but here's the best part about it: is
on Philo.tv.
On Philo, if you record them, you get the 1-button ad skip.
What's that?
So they.
What's the one?
Well, Jerry,
thank you.
They always go to commercial break. You're like, I want to watch the rest right now. You just hit the
What's
fast
up
forward
with those,
button
by the way?
once, and you hit play, and it's good. It skips all the commercials.
Hey, what's up with the commercials, by the way?
What do you mean?
What's with them?
They're how they pay for the show.
Who?
The people that make the show.
But I'm paying for TV.
That's right. You're paying to watch the show.
Seems like they're double dipping.
Yeah, they could be a little bit. Yeah.
But you know where you're going to feel good about where your money's going? Philo.
Yeah.
Because it's cheap. It's cheap. It's
Can't
best
believe
deal in
Jerry say that.
Best deal in TV.
That's right.
Best
It is
deal
the
on
best
TV.
deal on TV.
You guys want to talk about The Way Home?
I would love to.
I would really like to.
Yeah.
All
Thanks, Ryan.
All
I thought we were having a good time, but The Way Home, season 1, episode 2. The title is.
You betcha, cowboy.
Title is.
You better believe it, Bubba.
Wow, very similar, both very wrong. Scar tissue is what we were going for. I know that was on your short list.
You betcha, cowboy was close.
Originally aired on January 22nd, 2023, and it went a little something like this. The episode kicks off the morning after what happened last episode. Alice still missing. Kat is driving around. She's freaking out. She's talking to her ex-husband, and she says, and this is a quote, "Where the hell is she?"
Wow.
And I'm like, what channel is this? What's going? They would never.
No, not my Hallmark.
Not all.
Cut back to 1999, and Alice is trying to convince Kid Elliot that she's time traveled and blowing his mind about all this. And there's a great, we'll talk about how she blows his mind there about what happens in the future. But they walk to the pond, and she's like, "One day you're going to take me seriously," and jumps into the pond and disappears, which is a great line to say before jumping into a pond and disappearing. One day you're going to remember this. Kat makes it home to find Alice is also home, and she freaks out on her and is like, "Where were you?" And Alice is like, "I was with you." She says a weird answer, like, "I was here." And she's like, "No, you weren't." And then they do this whole back and forth, and she's like, "You were trying to go home to go live with your dad." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" And she says, "You're going to go to school, you're going to come home, and that's all you're going to be doing for a very long time, Missy." At school, Alice confronts Elliot, and he says, "Yes, I do remember the situation. I'm sure that you have figured out there are some rules, such as the time that you are in 1999 is equal to the time that you are gone here in 2023. So she was in 1999 for 12 hours. She was out of 2023 for 12 hours. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, everybody. It's a 1-to-1 time ratio. So pick your times well is basically what he's saying. Don't go overnight. Don't scare people. And she's like, wait, I go back? And he's like, she also says, I met my uncle Jacob and all this stuff. But when she jumps in later to try to go back, it doesn't work. She doesn't travel. Elliot does not know why. Dell takes Alice into town, which upsets Kat. While they're arguing, Alice goes into the town archive to try to find out more about Jacob's disappearance. Kat goes to visit her dad's grave, and there's a guy there named Danny who just acts kind of weird and scurries off. Then she notices Jacob's name is also on that tombstone, which means that mom has declared him dead without telling her. When she confronts her mom, she says, yes, I did that. Also, there's a memorial tomorrow. I've been planning it for a long time. So Kat and Alice end up coming to said memorial, which takes the number of people there up to 5.
4.
Later, Alice, no, it's 5. Elliot's there too. Later, hey, don't sell them short. Later, Alice tells her mom that she wants to stay here, learn more about her family, even the ones that aren't here. She wants to know about the whole family. She heads back to the water. She jumps in. And it works. She's back in 1999. She runs and she finds her mom and her uncle Jacob running through the field, and why not join them? And that, my friends, was The Way Home.
Season
1,
Episode
episode 2.
two.
You betcha, cowboy.
Wicked Lips or whatever it was called.
Not Wicked Lips, that's for sure. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about this episode of television here on Deck the Hallmark.
Typo.
We're back.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Deck the Hallmark. We're talking about The Way Home, Hallmark's newest television series. We are 2 episodes in to the series as a whole. Let's break this episode of television down. And I'm going to start with you, Ryan. Ryan, what did you think of episode 2? We were all pretty high on episode 1 and very intrigued about where episode 2 was going. So how'd you feel like they stuck that landing?
Well, that was what was interesting after last week. I got more excited for this after how excited all 3 of us were. And I went in with moderately high expectations. And in the beginning, I really enjoyed everything. I thought the interplay between Alice and Elliot, the intrigue elements with Andy McDowell, even small things like Alice kicking the clothes from 1999 under the bed. I'm like, they're really putting thought into this. But Dan, I said it to you last week, when we hit that middle portion last week, they lost me for a bit. We hit the middle portion on Sunday night, and I was all the way in. I was all the way home. Like I really freaking like this show. It is thoughtful. Like they are putting energy and emphasis on the right things. They're having us ask the right questions. The characters that I weren't so strong with week 1, I'm really enjoying week 2. We'll break it all down. And yes, ultimately, it is still Hallmark and everything that comes with it. But dag nabbit, it's new Hallmark, and I freaking love it.
Dag nabbit.
That's right. Hells and all.
And a dam.
And
There's
a dam. That's
in
exactly
there as
right.
well.
Gosh, guys, Hallmark's going to
straight to
H-double-Ls.
H and a H basket,
Guys, I gotta tell you, if I was watching
hell basket, apparently
H and H basket,
H and H basket,
yeah. If I was watching this on a streaming service where there were multiple episodes and the little button were to pop up that says you're gonna watch next one's coming up in 10 seconds. Yeah, I'm moving straight to the next episode. I couldn't be more in right now. I'm absolutely loving this. I'm surprised at how much I'm loving this. There's a lot that they could have even in this episode messed up and made me lose my attention, or muddled things up, or lots of things that could have gone wrong. And as of right now, I feel like they're knocking it out of the park, basically all the way across the board. The acting, the story, the secrets, the mystery, like the amount of conversation that you can have, even just about the Jacob character.
Yeah.
What is he? Where is he? When is he?
When-
Yeah.
All of these things that they are just slowly like they're letting you in on this. And it's just fantastic. Just fantastic. I'm having an absolute blast. I cannot wait until next week. And now that I know that there's going to be there's 2 weeks in between episodes 4 and 5, my biggest hope is that I get to the end of episode 4 and I am enraged that I have to wait 2 weeks. That's my goal, is that by the end of episode 4, I am as high on it as I am right now, and that I am PO'd that I can't skip Super Bowl Sunday to watch The Way Home, because might have done it. Might have done it. Dan, what'd you think?
I'm really, really concerned and nervous because after week 1, I was like, man, solid pilots, but this is setting up for Hallmark to ruin it and do a bad job answering these questions or not have any stakes. And after 2 episodes, now I feel like I'm just so concerned that it's going to come at some point, because this second one was even better than the first one. It was even better than the first one. I can't tell you. I don't know if Andie MacDowell knows about the time travel well or not. I don't know that.
I have no idea.
And kudos to Andie MacDowell for playing it the way she's playing it.
How good is she?
She looks like she's lived a life or 3 or 4. Yeah. She looks like she could have been. She's dabbled with the well and it's not gone well. She's gone back in time and regrets it. That's why they think she's a witch all the way back at the beginning. I'm still going with that theory. I really, really am concerned that Hallmark's going to Hallmark it up. But through 2 episodes, I just got to be honest. This is a fun time. We had 2 cuss words and a Donald Trump joke this week, gang. Like, when we say this is new Hallmark, I don't think you understand. If you had told me in 2018 there would be 2 cuss words and a Donald Trump joke, I would have said, not on your life. It happened in the first 10 minutes of this episode. This is borderline just good television. I'm just telling you. I'm in right now.
Let me ask you this.
I'm not as far in as you are.
I understand, but I'm just saying this to you. If I were to tell you, hey, I'm really hot on a TV show, I tell you nothing else.
Yeah.
You watch these first 2 episodes you don't have the past with Hallmark that you have. Where are you going with this show? Are you like waiting for episode 3?
So what I would tell you, I'm serious because I've thought this, is what I would tell you is that, man, I like a lot of what they're doing, but it feels a little like, back of the catalog pay cable-y. Like, it feels just a little bit like it isn't something that would be on Netflix or HBO or something else. It feels like they're holding back a little bit on something. But to be fair, with the Hallmark context, this is like at the edge of the frontier.
Oh, yeah.
So we need to give credit where credit is due. I can't hold it to that standard. I mean, it's not The Last of Us on HBO. You know what I mean? Like, it's, we're not there, but what they're doing for them is pretty groundbreaking. And
how does it compare to you with like the best of the Signed, Sealed, Delivered, which we were all very like, when it's really good,
it's really Signed, Sealed, Delivered is better than this. The TV show Signed, Sealed, Delivered only matches this in the pilot. So that's a full hour and 20. So I don't think a single 40 minutes Signed, Sealed, Delivered ever does what The Way Home has done for 2 weeks.
Yes.
So that should be as high a praise as you need.
If The Way Home gets a Christmas episode, though, all bets are off. I'm losing
you will lose your mind.
Losing my
Extended
mind.
TV.
Oh,
But I mean,
gosh.
Hallmark
the pond at Christmas time.
even Signed, Sealed, Delivered. Hallmark has never.
You go down, you end up in Santa's sleigh somehow. What's going on?
Like, all the algae has like lights on it.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? No, Signed, Sealed, Delivered never made me ask really any questions. Like, I knew eventually Kristen Booth and Eric Mabius' characters were going to get together. This has me asking questions and theorizing every week, not to the level we did like when I watched Lost and I was in college and I was like, oh my goodness. But like, I am sitting here going, what if this guy is the brother? How the brother could be any age right now. Yeah. That's the thing. Jacob, the brother,
if he's alive,
he could be the youngest he could be is his current the age that he would be had he not disappeared. He can be that or anything older, because he could have jumped back in time and gone back to the 1940s, and he's 6 when he goes back in time, and so now he's 82 plus 6. He could be 88 years old. He could be any number his age or higher. So that is fascinating. Annie McDowell, does she know about the pun? Fascinating. So some other things I'll talk about in the other segments. So guys, it's gripping. It works because of the performances, and I'm asking questions every week. So yeah, is it a little Hallmarky around the edges? Sure it is, but whatever. Like let's continue to push forward, Hallmark, because you're crushing this thing.
Let's get to the feels. What gave us feels while we were watching this episode, Ryan?
I have a couple, but I will say right off rip, cold open, I do believe, when Alice goes through the sinkhole and young Elliot is there with her. So this is the 99 timeline.
That's right.
And young Elliot just thinks that Alice drowned because he's never experienced anything like this before.
Right.
And he's flipping out. Like, at that moment, I think the opening tag hit right after. And I was like, I just think this show kind of rules. It's like it was. I was just totally in. And again, that's really smart. And you have to think those things through, because like small detail like that could get lost in translation. But Elliot, especially young Elliot, is so central to everything that we're doing by the parameters that they've set. That moment is so critical because the dynamic between 2022, 2023 version of him and Alice is so critical to everything we're going to do going forward. I love the moment between Alice and Elliot where she's like, we got to talk about last night. I thought that was very, very funny.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I thought that was very, very funny.
Classic.
And then my other big thing, and Dan, this I to piggyback off what you said, when Alice is going through the archives and she's looking at all those newspaper things with the digital magnifying glass, I was tempted to pause my screen at every single, and no offense to anything else Hallmark has ever done, but I never would have thought like, oh, maybe this thing that's going to be on screen for a second and a half is unbelievably important. And I think that alone just speaks to how really, really gripping by and large this was for 42 minutes. It was great.
Her going in and saying we got to talk about last night and then going immediately to commercial break was so funny. And so like the way it was, like the way he responded to the people behind him, it was perfect. I didn't expect to get that much of a chuckle out of this show. So the fact that they're doing what they're doing while also mixing in every once in a while a little something is really fun, and it made me very happy.
Yeah, so sometimes on this program, when I don't like something at the feels segment, I'll say when the credits rolled at the end is my feels. That is my feels in this, but for a very different reason. It's the first time watching Hallmark, the credits started rolling, and I went, "That's it? That's all we're getting." Like I couldn't believe we were done with 42 minutes already. I couldn't believe we were done with it. I thought we were going to try to answer some other big question or give me like some more like kind of like teasers that would have been a little bit more manipulative. And no, it just stood on its own as an episode of character development, and you get some plot, and the credits rolled, and I was like, I can't believe that that's all we get this week. So that's really, really kudos to you guys. Really, really good job.
Someone's in the Bramble Jam Plus chat is saying that they did screenshot it and is trying to look at those.
Wow.
Which this is the type of thing, like we've covered Signed, Sealed, Delivered, and we've covered When Calls the Heart at this point. And like those fan bases are so like intense, and they're like dissecting things that we're just like, I don't even think that's like they're.
But this is where we need a fan base.
This is the type of stuff that's
lasers,
like,
the homies.
We
need a group of people, the Hardys and the homies.
The Hardys and the homies.
If we can't start the homies, what can we do?
That's exactly right. The homies need to screenshot all of the dates. You gotta invert it, make it black and white, up the contrast, do whatever you gotta do, guys.
Come on, homies, get with it.
That's what the homies do.
I can't wait for fan art for Hardys and the homies. That's gonna be awesome.
I did see them live, and they were.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
so
the basement of the basement. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
so good. Yeah. Small room, big heart. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll come back. We're taking a break. You've got Ryan being insecure about his water now.
I'm sorry.
I'm usually you gotta understand. I'm usually very buttoned up on these. I'm in a different setting.
That's right.
Parked.
Yeah. Yeah, you run like a professional podcast. We literally put out whatever we record. It's like Ron Burgundy and the teleprompter. Like whatever's up there, it's going out. It's going out. That's what's happening.
And we're all better. We're better for it, Ryan.
My chat is frozen on where's Ryan's brick wall. I miss it too. Like, you know, it's like there's a lot going on.
Oh, your brick wall. It's comforting. The brick wall's comfort. Let's go to the wait what's. Let's see what we got in this one. Any wait what's for you, Ryan, in a television show that is supposed to make you ask wait what in a different way though. So in this, what were some things that made you go wait what as in
yeah, I have a couple. Very impressive that Alice's phone could last through a rainstorm right next to that swamp for 12 hours. And she just picks it up and goes back home afterwards. I mean, that's a good service carrier.
Must be an Android like mine is, not your slacker iPhones is what must be happening there.
Well, that wasn't very polite, but
but also we do need you to keep your phone the same. You can't change your phone, Ryan.
Right. Well, because of Brian and Costco, the whole thing.
That's right. Yeah, that's important.
I'm not.
As a DocuSign
I wouldn't
situation,
say,
we wouldn't know.
But for that,
enough.
yes.
It's not going anywhere. Unlike the brick wall, not going anywhere. So I was a writing major before I became a professional wrestling pundit and all the way home.
Isn't that how it goes, though?
Yeah. No,
if I had a nickel for every,
it's a logical journey to go on, and so I know a little bit about how hard it is to get a book deal, and never once in my day would you obtain a book deal by not speaking to the publisher firsthand. Not a thing that I think happens. And then have the gumption to turn it down.
That's right.
To say, I'm not doing this.
That's right.
I don't want this book deal that I spent the first 50 minutes of this television show saying is all I need to exist.
We had a book deal. We got one of those, and we talked to the publisher for a while. Yeah. The idea of turning it down, like especially sight unseen, would be like if Steven Spielberg called you up as an actor and was like, "I've got a part for you in my new movie," and you're like, "Let me think on it a little bit," and then call him back and be like, "No, I just can't imagine."
It would be like, "Hey, yeah, publisher guy, I know these two guys who wrote a Christmas children's book, and they're like, great, let's do it." They go, they didn't even talk to them perfect. It's in the home run on the way home. And then last one for me, quote, "I had a nice little catch up with my high school nemesis when I dropped off your honey." Amazing sentence.
That is a good
it sure is. I have a few. Her ex-husband, hotshot deal maker, has the biggest tie knot I've ever seen in my life. It was massive. That guy's out there making hot shots, doing the deals with it. Not like
he's
that.
making hot shots.
He's making hot shots. He's doing hot shot. He's doing hot shots.
And then hot shots.
Hot shots.
Oh, we got those at Fitz.
Yeah, I know you do, Wrigley.
They're boiling.
You boil them.
Yeah, there's no alcohol in them. It's just for the sugar.
Guys, when she decides that she wants to try to go back into the pond, she jumps in while wearing jeans. And I felt for her.
No.
The rumor has it she's still in those jeans to this day. The wet. Is there anything worse than wet jeans? I would have, if I was planning on jumping into a time traveling pond, I would dress the part. I would think through this because I just don't think I could have done that and handled it. And here's. So I understand when you see your brother's name on a tombstone, you didn't realize it was there, that would, take you aback a little bit. But to go to your mom and be like, he could still walk through this door. Well, here's the thing about this. He still could. His name being on a tombstone doesn't actually stop him from doing anything. It's not like I'm coming home. First, I gotta go make sure I'm not on a tombstone anywhere. Because if I am, that means I can't come home.
That's right. Rules are rules.
Rules are rules. If you are written in tombstone, you cannot walk through doors. Which typically, yes, but in this case, in a missing persons case, just because you're declared dead doesn't actually
do anything,
make you dead.
Correct.
That's not what the thing is that kills you. So could still walk through the door. I just want to point that out, pal. So keep hope alive. If you want to keep hope alive,
keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive. That's all I'm saying. Keep hope alive.
Yeah.
Keep hope alive. You boil it, huh?
You boil it. You boil it. That's right.
What was that?
So, sorry, I got a little,
Yeah.
little something frog
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
throat.
you're good.
Ribbit. Yeah. No, it's just for the sugar.
Okay, do you have any Wait What's? Rick?
Yeah, I do. No, Rick does not.
Okay.
He just in my ear. She was only gone 12 hours. That's it. That's all she was gone. We have watched 6 Wedding Veil movies where less has been accomplished than her 12 hours in the pond. 12 hours in the pond. She knocked it out. She met everybody, did some stuff, talked to dude. Like that's and slept. Like that's impressive. And you know what? I get everybody grieves differently, and having to do this memorial service to like finally not stop hoping, whatever. But to have, speaking of gumption, Ryan, to have the gumption to say that we planned this memorial service weeks before you showed up. And that plan included 2 women, 2 umbrellas, and 1 balloon.
Hey, Dale.
Yeah.
Can I throw something by you?
Well, we're going to have to really get down to the nuts and bolts of this. It's
All
not
right.
going to plan itself.
I got it.
What if we get out by the
Balloon.
fence with 1 balloon?
Balloon.
Great. I can't look.
Who should we invite?
If you,
no one.
If you,
Keep it close to the. Don't invite. Elliot can come.
Let's consider it planned.
No one else.
If you have.
Can we change the date? Heck no.
In the show, if you
Put it on the ledger.
say out loud that we had look, the train's left the station. We have planned this. We can't unplan it. There's too many balls in the air. To what they give us is literally looks like improv. Like it looks like we forgot to plan it. It's like we said we were going to plan it, and then it was like, that's today? Oh no, do we have a blue balloon?
We would have a balloon.
Great. Well, it's raining. Let's just make it work. Do we invite anybody? No. I couldn't believe that. I will say this.
We've planned it, and we are not going to.
Someone writing this show wants to make sure that any dummy out there that isn't paying close attention knows that this guy runs the paper and the archives. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen a newspaper have and archives under their sign? Like, in case you were wondering, at the local newspaper, this is the local newspaper and archives. When they introduce him, they say he runs the paper and the archives. Like, guys, we're not stupid.
It's like someone walked onto the camera.
Don't forget the archives.
No one is showing up going, oh, son of a nutcracker, I thought there was archives here. Nobody's doing that. Like, everyone knows that newspapers, their job is to keep the news, and that includes not only today's news. Like, somebody's in the pocket of big archives. That's the only thing I can figure.
Can I ask you something?
Please do.
Have you ever thought about what it would be like, what you would do if you got tomorrow's newspaper today?
Dude, man, maybe there's a cat on top of it. Gosh, I'd go right to the tracks.
Ryan, not an early edition fan, huh? Way back, you ever see early edition?
No, I'm not going to lie here on the Way Home Episode 2 podcast. No.
Okay. Yeah.
Great show.
Of course not. No.
Kyle Chandler gets tomorrow's newspaper
today.
He gets it today.
Yeah. And he goes and he helps people stay out of the problems they were going to be in instead of, and it's every week. It's like an episodic thing.
It's art.
Yeah. I will say it's a bold move by Kat to not call the father of her daughter as soon as they find her. That is, for someone we're supposed to be sympathetic for, it's a bold move. As a father, even if I was estranged from my wife, when it comes to my children, you would think you would get a phone call of some sort, and she just doesn't do it. And that was impressive, to say the least. And then lastly, the fact, and this is maybe, I don't know where to put this because it's not a sink or swim, and it's not really the hallmark, and it's not on all the feels, but I'm very interested to watch the show to see how Elliot, whose best friend is Kat, right? Elliot and Kat, best friends, how Elliot never tells Kat that Alice is a time traveler. She never, ever once. Can you imagine your best friend in high school? Somebody shows up and then goes, by the way, I'm time traveling, and jumps in a pond. And you don't go to your best friend immediately and go, you're not going to believe this, but but they told me they were he never does it. He clearly never does it because still to this day, Kat hasn't put the pieces together. And that is one of these hanging threads that is bothering me. It is a wait what, because it would bring the whole show down if he did tell her. And so I'm fascinated by that. That's all.
Did she tell Elliot, 999 Elliot, that she's Kat's
Correct.
daughter?
And I already thought about
so,
that. But the problem is you have a best friend and you have someone that just showed up that day and then jumped into a pond. You're still going to go. You're not going to trust that. Like, you're going to go back.
The one thing they have going for him is that he's like smart, right?
Yes.
So if he's smart and has given thought to time travel, he's probably like, I don't know if I can do that.
So just in case she is a time traveler, I don't want to.
He saw her go through the pond.
I don't want to ruin the whole thing. He thinks she's drowned, according to Ryan.
Well, I think it's a 24-hour rule. Like, if she did not resurface after, we don't know what he did.
He clearly thinks that she is
if you
drowning.
Have a best friend and someone you just met that day, unless they specifically say don't tell her, you're going to go tell her.
I do see what you're saying. Yeah. I also think it's the reason they made him smart in the show.
Well, I mean, you can put a lot under there.
Yeah, he's smart. He thinks he knows time travel. You can't say that. Can't. It is time for Sink or Swim, the segment we all know what it is. Ryan, what did you sing and what did you swim in?
All right, for my sink, I have one of each. I think Elliot basically has to be older. Elliot has to be like Alice's Yoda. And then has to turn around and teach 10th grade biology. That's a tough gig. That's a sinking feeling right there. Yes. Alex walks out into the hallway, and then he's got to be like, "All right, micronism. It's like
micronism. I don't think that's a thing.
Microcosms.
Microcosm, microorganism, micronism.
I abbreviated.
Yeah, that's what the kids do.
Micronism. Nice to meet you. The whole Ronism family are wonderful people. Salt of the earth.
It's shorthand. And then for my swim, I could be wrong on this. As I just proved, I am a public school kid. But I'm going to suspect that some people, and I don't think this is a wait what. I'm going to suspect that some people are like, she names her kid Alice. She's talking about her friend from 1999 named Alice. There's a picture with a girl named.
Yes.
Like, some people might push back on that. However, maybe that's how science works. I clearly do not know. I was a writing major. However, what I think genuinely this happened to me yesterday. I'm at a breakfast, a coffee shop with my girlfriend. Somebody walks in. I see the guy. I had his face, and I've talked to this guy multiple times. To this day, 3 days, I cannot place where I know this guy from. So maybe
it was Brian.
Yeah, with the decky, and I was like, no, not yet, dude. Like Thursday. And I was like, I guess this stuff can happen. This is on a grander, more extrapolated level, but maybe the show is putting through things. But I lived it. I lived the way home just yesterday at a coffee shop.
Wow.
So who knows? Maybe there's something to it.
Who knows? Yeah, I like that.
I'm gonna combine my sink or swim. I just have one, so this is a sink swim
combo.
Sink swim combo. While I loved, obviously it was my feels. I thought it was very funny walking into your teacher's room and saying we have to talk about last night. There has to be an investigation.
Everything in me cringed. You guys all laughed as a teacher of 15 years.
Absolutely. Like, that incident right there is why is a deep fear. Like, no, never. Sinking feeling, very funny that when it happened, but my life is like, that's got to be investigated. Like, what explanation did he possibly give them?
No, they had to do interviews with everybody.
Oh, everybody. Yeah. Everybody involved. That's a sink and a swim.
Yeah. Were you gonna say something, Ryan?
No.
Okay. My sink is not a lot of dog this week.
No.
Not really any dog anywhere.
I think we see him once.
And I just saw him curled up on a bed. It was just kind of disappointing. The swim is that Elliot is smart, and apparently we don't get any of this information, but apparently he has somewhere to test DNA against records because he asked her if she's willing to provide DNA. Now, any other 16-year-old kid would be like, doesn't do me any good. This guy is like, I could do something with that. I could actually take that saliva or skin cell
microisms
and go to get the micronisms. go to the Ronism's house and talk to Mike and see if they could help me run this splicer in 1999. That's pre-CSI, people.
Yeah.
Like Gil Grissom isn't even on the scene yet, and they're just running through
He's
a
trying,
spectrometer, and he's figuring it out. And that made me really like feel good about Elliot and who he is and why he's back teaching science. That's all I got.
Fantastic. We did it.
We did it,
Season 2.
everybody.
Episode 2 of season 1 of The Way Home, but it wouldn't be an episode with Ryan without Wrestle to the Ground.
Hey, what is going on here?
It's time to Wrestle the Ground, our segment about wrestling. What do you got for us today, buddy?
Well, Brandon and I, we workshopped this the other day. I think what could be fun for as many weeks as humanly possible, although I don't know if it's going to go more than 2, is to talk about connections between Hallmark and wrestling. And so for this week, although none related to The Way Home at all, I hope everyone, Taylor Cole made a movie with John Cena about a decade and a half, 12 rounds. They had Taylor Cole played John Cena's girlfriend, talked with her about it at Christmas Con. She spoke highly of New Orleans cuisine. And if you haven't seen it, you should check it out. That's this week's Wrestle
to the Ground.
To the Ground with Dennis Haskins.
Hey, what is going on here?
Really quickly, Yokozuna.
His theme?
Yes.
And then it just
Nailed
repeats.
Man.
Yeah. You're never gonna get me.
It's
Man.
like I was there. It's like I was teleported
This
back.
guy.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Bet
Not
you,
gonna
didn't,
get
bet,
me.
bet you didn't think you'd hear Yokozuna's name today, but
none
here
of
we
us
are.
did.
I
Here we
had
are.
to make up for pronouncing science words wrong, so I was ready for whatever there.
Listen, you gotta listen. You know your zone, and you stay in it the best you can. No one's asking you to talk about microisms, whatever it was.
Micronisms.
I've heard it
goodness.
both. I've heard it all 3 ways, to be fair.
Yeah. Guys, we are going to be back next week with episode 3. Watch it this Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern on philo.tv/DTH. We'll be back then. Until then,
Merry Christmas.